Hi, everybody. I'm Francis Clark Westfield. I am the technical sales manager for Mamiya Leaf. I handle the East Coast of the United States for Mac Group, and Mac Group is the distribution company here in Westchester, New York. We distribute not only Mamiya Leaf, we distribute Pocket Wizard, Profoto, X-Rite, Benro Enduro, and several other products. We are a full photography company that when we work with our dealers like B&H, we try to facilitate them with just about every tool that you want to work with in the photography business. I have been working with digital sensors and large format digital camera systems for the past 20 years. I've started on some of the earliest systems where they were large, very complicated systems that had these power supplies and these cable running across the studio. You could only shoot a single shot in black and white. You had to shoot color. It had to be 3 photographs merged into one, each shooting through a red, green, and blue filter. They had to have their own systems, their files dedicated to each particular system. They were, in a word, as complicated as it could get. This was the early days of digital that was just not a easy road. However, the results, even from those early days with 6 megapixel system, 4 and 6 megapixel digital camera systems that cost maybe $100,000 to $150,000, the quality was always something that really, really caught my eye. And no pun intended there, that, boy, this is starting to look as good as film. And of course, where have we come in the last 20 years? We have progressed. I don't know how many people out there really shoot film. Can I see a raise your hands? Does anybody still shoot film?
Oh.
Good for you.
Oh, yeah.
Good for you.
Scan it, it's digital, what's the fuck?
It's going there one way or another, right? Okay. I applaud you, because I love film. I used to be a film rep for Fujifilm years ago, so I've started. That's where my roots were. I started out that way, and I still like film, but digital and medium format digital has just like excelled and soared above a technical precipice that just is unbelievable. We've hit a paramount here where, and we're still going up. So. Medium format digital to me is really what it's all about getting back to film, or even exceeding film's quality, because that's my high point. If it can even like come close to even looking like film, then you've won my heart. And in the early days it even started, and it's just got better and better and better. So when you talk about a medium format system that goes on to I'm going to show you the Mamiya Leaf, Mamiya DF camera system, and you're able to shoot really fast and with really high quality, and you bring those files in and you start working on them, and you're not going to notice any banding, you're not going to notice any color degradations or anything like that, and it's just phenomenal. And I'm a purist, so I love this kind of stuff. So let me tell you a little bit more about my company, Mamiya Leaf. You've heard of Mamiya, you've heard of Leaf down the road. About 2 months ago, the names kind of merged. Mamiya was sold in one camera store around in other parts of the world, and Leaf was sold in another. So they just decided to take the names, put them together, and merge the 2 companies. And Mamiya Leaf is owned technically by a company called Phase One, and I think you've all heard of Phase One. Has anybody not heard of Phase One? Okay. So Phase One is the parent company, and I've been working with Leaf for many years. And when Phase One bought the company, we were all like, are they going to take Leaf and just kind of dissolve it? And much to our surprise, we were like very, very excited that they didn't. They bought Leaf because Leaf had this incredible knowledge about hardware, and the Phase One wanted to use that to their advantage. In fact, the iCube backs that are out there right now are designed primarily by the people at Leaf. and phase 1 development system right now. So I'm even more excited to tell you about a new product that I have, which I'll show you a little bit later. I have the new Credo back that was just announced last week. And I have the only one that's in the country right now. Later on, I'm going to bring it out and show it to you after I show you the APS system. So that's Mamiya Leaf, and that's the crux of our company's involvement, our consortium that we're doing right now. Phase 1 also owns Mamiya, which is still the camera system, which is still made in Japan. Okay. So let me just get the system here and show it to you. This is a Leaf APS 2 8 back, which is a 40 megapixel digital camera back. It's on the 645 DF camera, and the lens that we have on here is an 80 millimeter LS lens. The LS stands for Leaf Shutter. It is designed completely by Schneider Kruschnock out of Germany, and it is made by Mamiya in Japan. It is a Leaf Shutter lens. So before, where we had a camera that was limited to a 1/25th of a second shutter speed, we now have the ability to go up to 1/1600th of a second with utilizing these Leaf Shutter lenses. So that in turn lets us go out, take a strobe outside, and bring it to a high shutter speed where we're going to saturate the sky or something like that. So we have that advantage right now. The digital back is a 40 megapixel, and we make right now on the APS 2 series digital backs. I'm going to open this up. Digital backs that start at 22 megapixel and go up to 80 megapixel. We have a 22, a 28, a 33, 40, and a 56 and an 80. The new Credo backs will be in the sizes of 40, 60, and 80 megapixels. So also these APS 2 systems start at approximately $10,000. And the real thing I want to show you today is how our digital systems, how our Mamiya Leaf digital systems work now seamlessly with Capture One software. That's the advantage of being owned by Phase 1. We've got the advantage of using the best workflow software out there right now. I'm a digital technician for a long time, working on lots of high-end photo shoots for commercial purposes, movie posters, ads, things like that. The photographers I used to work with, there was just no time when we were shooting, if we're shooting a celebrity or something like that, to have your software or your hardware to go down. Capture One is a fantastic software, whether you're using it tethered to a laptop or a tower, or whether you're shooting to CF cards and bringing in hundreds of thousands of images in a day. It is a really powerful, incredibly versatile software with tons of tools in there. And I'd like to start getting into what Capture One is all about using our cameras. And we'll talk more about the cameras a little bit later. And I will promise to break out the new camera and give you guys a complete tour of it, okay? Capture One comes in 3 different flavors for use with digital cameras, digital backs. We have Capture One Pro, which is the full functionality of the software. You can tether to a computer, you can use it to CF cards, and it has every full tool in there. It is a licensed paid fee of $299 for a 2-seat license. That means you can put it on 2 computers. Capture One DB is a free version of the software. However, you can only use it when you're tethered to a Mamiya Leaf digital back or a Phase 1 digital back. Okay? You cannot use it to CF cards. You cannot shoot to CF cards and import them into Capture One using DB. And then Capture One Express is a light version of it. It does not have all the tools that Capture One Pro has. For my money, it's really worth it to get Capture One Pro. Capture One Pro also works on almost 150 different DSLR systems. So I'm sure a lot of you out there, I don't have to ask how many own Nikon, how many own Canon, you'd definitely be able to use this on your, with your DSLR systems. And it is a highly intuitive tool. How many people work with Capture One right now? Raise your hands. One person? That's it? Okay. How many of you work with Lightroom? Okay. And Camera Raw, Adobe? 3, 4. Anything else I'm missing? Aperture. Okay. Are you mostly Aperture? How many work with Aperture? Okay. Sounded like more out there. So, all right, let me launch Capture One. The reason I leave up this splash screen is because when you launch Capture One, you should use this to go and get some very helpful tutorials that are online. YouTube is full of small, short tutorials on Capture One, different parts of the program that you can definitely get. But this is a good link to it. I like to show it. I like to show it when I'm teaching. Okay, I'm just going to. All right, the Capture One browser is basically like any other software program, but it is fully customizable. If I wanted to, for instance, put the tools over to the right, it's simply just doing something like that. And then I could just put them back. If I wanted to put the thumbnail viewer to the side, it's just easy as hitting that or hitting a command keys, excuse me. Everything is customizable in it. So in the tabs over here at this part, there's about 12 tabs that are hold all the tools possible. This is a library where you can navigate to anywhere you use a session folder. I'll get into sessions in just a second. This is your camera tab where you're going to have any kind of controls for any camera that's hooked up to it, whether it's, especially when it's tethered. There's nothing showing right now, but I will tether a camera and we will start to shoot with it. Your color tab using white balance, color balance. There's even a new black and white tab, which works pretty amazing. And this tab, which I'm going to show you in a little bit, is something I just put in here. It's an additional tab for the Profoto lighting system that I have right here. And that is actually going to let me control the lights from Capture One. So, and I'll get more into that as we go. Your exposure tab over here, where I've got exposure warnings, high dynamic range, levels, curves, and the histogram. This is a lens correction where you can do lens corrections. Most of you work with HDSLR systems. You familiar with what's called purple fringing? Okay. Capture One is a perfect tool for taking care of that, and that's in here. If you have that problem, I suggest you do work with Capture One. It's one of the only softwares out there that I know that takes care of purple fringing. We don't really get that much on a medium format back, and that's one of the advantages of working with a medium format back, but you certainly can control it to some degree with Capture One. Cropping, keystone, rotation, details, navigator, sharpening, noise reduction, moire. How many of you have had to deal with moire in the past? Does anybody know what moire is? Okay. You've never seen it? You've never had it in your images?
Yeah, I've seen it.
Okay. It's something that you either live with or you just can't stand. Capture One has an amazing moire tool, and I'm going to get into that in particular and show it to you. It's one of the only ones. We have a new thing in Capture One called local adjustments. I can actually go in and make a layer for Capture One on my image and make certain adjustments to that layer. It is not, in my opinion, a replacement of Photoshop or a retouching tool, but it's a way to take the first generation of your files and work with them, make adjustments to certain local parts of your image. I wouldn't use it for changing the color of a girl's eyes or something like that, because the tools they're basic, especially the selection tools and things like that. But if you wanted to darken a sky, if you wanted to lighten a foreground, you can certainly do something like that in an easy way. And we'll demonstrate that in a little bit. I also use it in certain ways for working on only certain parts of the images, such as with the moire tool, because too much moire can be an adverse thing. as the adjustment clipboard. Full metadata functions, and then a processing recipes. We'll get into that a little bit later, and then a processing queue. These 12 tabs can be condensed down to just a few tabs that you want and just only the tools that you use. The whole workspace can be completely conformed and customized to your to just what you want. And then these other tools up here, the navigator tools, picker tools, have these pull-down menus where there's even more down in here. I can pick, just by picking V, this tool is now my trash tool, so anything I go to, any icon I go to of any image, I can just simply hit it and make it throw it away. That's just one thing. If I want to get rid of this image, I just got rid of it just by clicking on it. I actually find that tool a little bit dangerous, but okay. Navigator tool, which is the pan hand tool right here, is a perfect tool that I use just to zoom in on. Just by double clicking, I can zoom in and check things out here. Okay. Do you see the sharpness I'm talking about here? This is the quality you get with a medium format digital back. We're almost seeing too much of this girl's skin and eyes and bad makeup, to tell you the truth. Okay. I think I'll go to that tool. I'm just going to skip around some images and show you some things, guys. Okay. Full cropping tool. A keystone correction tool. This is not the right image to show you that on. And then I have things like dust and spot removals and things like that. So there's a lot of advantages to working with Capture One, and I highly recommend that you guys get it. You can get a 30-day free trial to check it out. And I guarantee you that once you start working with this software, once you get the hang of it, you're going to leave your other softwares behind, to be very honest. Okay. Because you can take Capture One, work with your raw files, and then process everything out to TIFFs, JPEGs, PNG files, what have you, and work with them. Okay. Instead of me just kind of like spouting on, I'd like to actually set up a camera and the lighting system and show you how I would go about setting up a shoot. I heard, as we started, some people saying that they might not be able to afford a camera system like this, but you might want to go and rent a camera system like this. We rent them all around the country, and they're readily available. So let's get some of that fear out of the way and show you how to set it up. Does that sound good to you guys? All right, I'm going to take my DF camera with my 40 megapixel system here. I'm going to put back on this little protection plate. I'm going to take a 30-foot firewire cable, and I'll point this out. There's a single straight end and a 90-degree curved end on this, okay? This side. Only because the APS II back actually has the firewire port underneath the back itself. And it just simply plugs in right there, like that. I'm going to show you the proper procedure for renting an app. When you rent an APS II back, you're going to want to have Capture One running completely on its own. Take the straight end and plug it into your FireWire 800 port. Okay, and in this camera window right here, you'll see it says Leaf APS II 8. Leaf APS II 8 is the digital back, and it's a 40 megapixel digital back. In that same tool window, I can pick my ISO ratings from 80 up to 800. I'm going to pick 100 because we're going to do a studio lighting scenario here. Okay? All right, so the camera's connected. Why don't I make a new session right now? Capture One is all about making sessions. And a session is simply not only just a folder where you're going to shoot to, but a session's going to remember your workspace, how you have the browser windows and everything configured, your settings for those, and basically you can archive this whole session and save all your images that way. So I'm going to make a new session. Go back here, press this plus sign. And somebody give me a name of a session. Help me out.
BNH.
BNH. That's simple. I'm going to go small n because I can't use the ampersand sign. BNH session. Okay. Where you put this session is also important. I'm going to put this right onto my direct hard drive. And I'm just going to choose it. You have two choices of making sessions. You have tethered and untethered. When you make a tethered session, you do make what's called a capture folder. Okay, I particularly like to have it into a capture folder. It also makes a select folder, an output folder, and a trash folder. So just for today, and when you don't make it, it gets rid of the capture folder when you choose untethered. For today, and just for learning purposes, I'm going to choose tethered. And I'll show you why in just a second. Okay? I'm going to hit OK. BNH session has opened up here. It's titled at the very top. If I go back to my camera is still connected. That's great. That's what I want. And let me close or hide Capture One and show you what this does, what this is all about, and why it builds like this. Actually, I'll just color that so we know what it is. So in purple here is BNH session. Now, it made a capture folder, as I told you it would. It made also an output folder, a selects, and a trash folder. It also made this little thing, the .col50 folder. That is your session folder, okay? And let me explain what that does. I'm going to quit Capture One. If you were to move this folder, this whole folder, to another hard drive, to a RAID system, to something to store this, later on, if you came down and just wanted that session, BNH session, to start up, all you have to do is double-click this, and it's going to launch Capture One and bring you up to this session, to these where you left off with these folders. Okay. Start later and get rid of that. Okay. And the camera attached automatically, and that's a good thing. You'll see the capture folder has a small camera icon to its left. The selects folder has this little icon that is a arrow jumping into another folder. The output is a gear, meaning it's a machine, meaning that processes. And the trash is a trash can, self-evident. Okay, that's in the session favorites. The way to navigate also to the actual file, or the actual folders, excuse me, is to open your system folder, and you can navigate this way over there also. As you notice now, that little icon is over to the right, because I'm navigating to a different way. Coming to this folder, the capture folder, and this folder right here is the same thing. Imagine up here is just a shortcut to get there. You could be somewhere deep in your Mac and everything. All you have to do is come up to your capture folder. I tag that, and I am there already. So I'm going to start shooting right to it. So I don't want anybody to fall asleep, because we're going to start shooting, and I think I need some volunteers for that. Okay, this is a Profoto D1 light. Mac Group also distributes these, and I'm really happy not only having a really high-end digital camera system, I'm really stoked about being able to borrow all this really cool lighting equipment.
Yeah, I know.
These D1s are monoblocks. I have never believed in a monoblock before. I've been working in this business for over 30 years. I've been on photo shoots around the world. I've always believed in having a pack, a head, and a head extension going to it. These things I used to think, they're pieces of crap, they're young. It's changed my mind, and I'll tell you why. This Profoto D1 Air is so cool that with this little power puck, or remote device here, I can turn the lights on, I can turn the model lights on, I can power them up, turn them off, turn them back on, increase the power of them, as you can see, all remotely by this. I've also got a very cool tool in Capture One where by using this little wireless transmitter here, it's called a dongle, it's called the Profoto D1 Air dongle, that I can do the same thing from the software, and I'm going to demonstrate that to you. You'll need this to go on the camera, Mr. Photographer, on the hot shoe.
What's the wattage on this one?
This is a 500 watt second model. We sell them also in 250, 500, and 1,000 watts. We sell them in kits or individually. We sell them with the remote and without the remotes.
What's the recycling time on this model?
You never have to worry about it.
Like that?
Test it. Here. Right here. Test it.
And it's 100% all the time?
That's not 100% right now, but
I'm talking about whatever is set up on here.
what does it set to? What does it say there, John? It says 8.8. It goes up to 10.
No. When I mean 100%, in other words, if I whatever.
You hear that beep?
Yeah. That means you recycle.
That means you're done. That means you can shoot again.
I can shoot again.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry.
When I say 100%.
Okay.
You're getting the same.
Mendel.
Yeah.
Is it Mendel?
Lindell.
Lindell. I'm sorry. Press the button halfway down.
I know.
No, there's, let's see. You're at 1/25th of a second. Let's go to 250. Okay.
Capture One only will work with Profoto.
Excuse me?
Capture One will only work with Profoto.
Yeah. Let me repeat the question. The question was, can this Capture One wireless transmitter only work with Profoto? It is an agreement that Profoto and Capture One made together, or Phase One made together. And yes, it's not going to work with the other lights. Sorry.
Oh.
They'll have to make their own thing. Okay, it doesn't come up on the screen. Oh, yes, it does.
Okay.
It's way overexposed because you're at 2.8. So take this back dial here and let's go to F9. And I'm also going to reduce the power of the lights. Wait, stay there. Shoot another one, please. Okay. All right. Not bad. Okay, I think you're a little hot. Hold on one second.
Yeah.
Lindell?
Huh?
Did I get it right this time? Lindell, right?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, it should
Hang
be
on
on
a
the
second.
outside.
Hang on. Guys, by using the camera controls, I'm going to bring the tool up to the top so you can all see it. By using the camera control here, Lindell is shooting at 1/250th of a second, F9. I can either come over here and bring him down to F11. Go ahead and shoot, please. Let's see how that looks. I think it's better. It might be a little dark, and I'm going to show you something. I could either do that, or I can come over to my Profoto Studio tool, which is, I have to update. Hang on one second.
This is pretty quick.
All right, so now this light, let's say I want to bring it up 1/10 of a stop. It's at 8.8 right now. 8.9, 9.0. Lindell, please shoot another one.
You sure I can't take one of these?
You can, just write a check.
That's all it takes.
Okay, that's the image before Lindell. First one he shot. This is the second. Oh, actually, the bottom one is the second.
Right.
So, here.
Okay.
Okay.
Let's go. Let me see how sharp it
You want to see how sharp it is?
is. Yeah.
All right.
Like this.
We'll get into some other things, but let's see if you got it in focus. Is that sharp enough? Sorry, John. John, do you wear bifocals or trifocals?
Tries.
Oh my gosh, I have to get those soon. I'm like freaked out.
Wow, we.
Don't leave home without them.
You actually have good ones. I couldn't tell from looking at you here. Just see.
Man.
That's 100%, guys.
You can see him breathing.
This is 12 and a half This is 12 and a half stops of dynamic range. Okay? This is 64,000 bits of shades of gray per color. This is not your grandma's DSLR. Okay? This is serious color accuracy. Let me show you one other thing, guys. When I disconnect this, to avoid any kind of disconnects or anything down the road, we like to go into the software, and you'll see a green activity light here. And I like to go into the software under the camera control and pick none. When I pick none, this light will go amber, and that makes it indicates to me that it's safe to pull out this cord. If it comes out inadvertently, accidentally, it's not the biggest deal in the world. But as my experience has always shown me, this is a good procedure to do. So if you rent this, keep that in mind, okay? And I'll remind me to show you or explain something on the new backs that we do not have to worry about that. All right, to answer your question about the size of the sensors, this is the 645 aperture of the camera. Can everybody see that? Okay.
Pick up a little higher.
Sure. This is the 40 megapixel sensor that is over there. There's a 1:1.3 ratio of the magnification of the lenses. I believe this 80 becomes like a 100 or 105 when it's with the 40 megapixel digital back. This is the 40. Okay. This is the 80.
Just a little bit so they get the light in it. That's it.
Okay.
Okay.
So the 80 is full frame.
The 80 is considered to be full frame. Yes,
If you put an 80 millimeter lens on it, it is an 80 millimeter.
exactly.
Yeah.
Yes. There's no magnification whatsoever on
Even
this.
the light seal the difference.
Yeah. As we've progressed over the last 20 years with digital sensors, they're even smaller than this. They have grown, progressed, and matched our lenses now. I'm going to put in a gray card for Lindell to shoot. I'm going to act as his assistant. And would you shoot another picture of John? Lindell, actually, John, let's move you over this way a little bit. No, that's not your fault. That's not your fault. Shoot him with this background mostly in your back.
Oh, that was okay.
Okay, sounds good. Let's see the light. Hold on a second. Let's bring it around a little bit. And let's bring it down. The one thing the software can't do is actually physically move the light. Okay, I'm going to hold this gray card in for John. Lindell's going to shoot. All right. Oh, we're way overexposed. Let me,
Well, no, it's at 7.1, that's why.
yeah, something happened. That's okay. You know what, John? Lindell, let me change it actually here in the software because I love to show this off. I'm going to bring this down. And let's try that again. Technically, I should have a light meter here, and we do sell Sekonic light meters. I'll just throw that in there.
Bought one in there, great.
Yeah, I do.
Okay, great. I get a commission on that, right?
It's still up. Okay.
Much better?
Better.
Okay, folks, by using a reference like this, I can then take my white balance tool, or my neutral balance tool as I like to call it, and I could come in here. Now, if you look at the top of the screen, it's a little hard to see. My zoom's not really working. The top of the screen, you're going to see 4 numbers. 149, 149, 151, and 149 in gray. So we got a red, green, blue value with a gray, which is the average of that. Anywhere you put the picker, it's going to read out those numbers of that particular area, such as 118 red, now 27 green, and 43 blue. That makes sense. I'm on John's red vest here, okay? If I put it onto my gray patch, it technically should be 3 equal parts of red, green, and blue. That makes up light, or white light, neutral light, okay? So with this tool, by picking it once, watch the numbers change and watch the image change. It's more even now. 118, 119, and an average of 118. Okay. So, everybody's heard of bit depth, correct?
Yeah.
Everybody's heard of 8-bit, correct?
Right.
Do you know why it goes from 0 to 256 in 8-bit? 2 to the 8th? Sort of. Does everybody know what 0 represents? You're on the right track. It's the opposite. It's black. Okay. Don't worry. 0 is black. 256 is going to be white. Now, in this case, this is not going to read 0. I can tell you that right now. In this case, this will not read. Am I pointing in the right direction? Yeah. It's not white. It's not bright enough. It's the representative values. So from 0 being black, 256 being black, I'm sorry, white, on the 8-bit scale, what number falls right in the middle? 127. Okay? So if you pick an area in your scene that is closest to 127 on average, this being here 122, well, that's close enough for me. I don't have to light it exactly so it's 127. I'm not doing science here. I'm making a craft. I'm doing art. If it was 100, that would be fine. This might be 151. That, if this was a true place I'd balance on, that might be okay. But I'm going to pick a gray patch that's lit around 127, the middle of the 8-bit chart, closest to. Here and there, off a little bit, no big deal. But once I pick on that, and I pick on this known reference, this X-Rite color checker passport, I am using a known reference. This is a silk screen tool. This is not just a gray piece of paper you get at CVS. Okay? It is silk screened. It is scientifically measured to be a gray patch that will be a known reference. So right now, this photograph has a known reference. And I can go in there and balance on that. And it's pretty well balanced. Neutral. Folks, I like neutral, but that might be a boring film or might not meet the needs of the particular assignment that I'm doing. We'll skip that for now. Yeah. All right, I'll repeat his question. He commented that unless you're doing medical, and sure.
They shoot you.
Yeah, sure. I used to work with a medical photographer who had to have accurate skin tone and everything. We sold him a very expensive system because he did dermatology work. Every mole on a person's body, if they came back 6 months later and it turned out to be a carcinogenic issue and it changed or changed in color, the doctors needed to represent this by a high-end photographic way. You're absolutely correct. So if I pick here, it's going to be neutral. But I might not want it neutral. Film shooters, 81A, 81B filters, ring a bell?
Yep.
Okay.
Warming.
Yep. I'm going to warm this up by bringing up the Kelvin temperature. Watch this change a little bit. I just added an 81A filter right there. Okay. Lindell, would you please shoot a couple of frames of John again, please? I'm sorry to make you wait there, John.
You'll sign your voucher.
Free parking today, right?
I'm gonna run interference.
Go ahead and shoot. Lindell, please shoot a couple of verticals, please. Okay? You'll notice that when he shoots a vertical, it's going to automatically change its orientation. I have that set in the camera and the software to do that automatically. John, you're looking great. Okay. I'll press H, which will turn my color picker into a pan tool. I can go in and you're a little soft, my friend.
Because that would probably focus on the chest.
Yeah, or focus on his face and keep the, and don't move the camera too much once you get the focus set. You can recompose, but you want to keep it
I got you. Okay.
level here. Wow, perfect. Okay. All right. So Lindell's in focus. As his digital technician, I'm checking that for him.
Let's do just that.
Close up. Real tight.
Headshot, real tight headshot.
Yeah.
Okay, I think that's about it. The 80 millimeter is considered normal. That's a nice shot. This gentleman is asking that the image seems to be a little bit distorted. And you might be right. This might not be the lens to get in so close on a portrait subject like that. Let me give Lindell a different lens. I'll give you the 110. This again is also an LS lens. Great question. Thank you for asking that. Okay, shoot another picture of him. Obviously the focal distance is going to bring him back a little bit. Yes, I would not really shoot a close-up portrait with an 80mm lens like this. I'd have to agree with you. Okay, did you move the f-stop?
No. But to change the lens.
The lens may have done it.
No, it shouldn't. It shouldn't. Okay, no big deal. We will change it back here. It went to 2.8.
2.8, right.
Let's go to, I think we we're at f11 before. I could double check.
F9 something.
Yeah, we were at f11 before.
Okay.
Okay. Lindell, let's please shoot. I'll actually
Change
get,
that from over there?
Yeah.
yes I did. Okay. Does anybody know why that happened? Why this looks darker? Yeah, different bellows on the lens.
Right.
We call it bellows factor
Yeah,
from days where we got.
So you gotta open it up.
Try that, Lindell. Lindell, just one or two. Let's see them first, please.
Oh, sorry.
No problem. It's still down a little bit. I'm actually going to pump up my lights. Try that. Just one shot, please.
One shot. Okay, sorry.
Not a problem.
Wasn't the light up to about 9?
Way earlier. We've changed that since.
Change it.
Okay, this exposure looks great. Okay, now let's demonstrate something else about the software. You guys can take a break. Let's put that down, have a seat. How about a hand for these guys? Great photographer. Thank you very much. Okay, thank you, John. Appreciate that.
So you're talking about at least a two-stop difference between the two lenses?
Wait, because there's a bellow.
There was a certain bellows involved in that. I wouldn't say 2 stops. I'd say maybe 3/4 of a stop. Okay, let me show you something here on the software. The image we began with, and this image right here, I'm going to put them together. On this image, I'm going to select it. I have several ways of adjusting this. I could simply just go in with a curve and bring it like that. Okay, it's looking good to me. Maybe a little more. I could also do it by just, and let's get that one too, using the exposure slider. There's many different ways to skin the cat here. Okay, but what I want to point out to you is, let's say Lindell accidentally shot 50 shots all underexposed. I've adjusted this shot to get it to a balance where I want. I come up to this copy adjustments from the primary variant. Since I'm selected on, we call that the variant that I'm selected on, the primary variant. I will copy that variant, and then I'm going to select the other images that need to be adjusted. And I'm simply going to, I'll copy that variant. This arrow becomes active. That means I can apply this adjustment now to all these. Bob's your uncle. Maybe I didn't do these two right. I'll adjust it a little bit down. And maybe there. I'll copy that adjustment again and apply it to that one. This one looks a little dark too. That's a whole different exposure, so I'll just adjust that a little bit differently. So I pretty much, in a matter of a few seconds, adjusted all these files. Now, we also started the testing images. Let's get rid of that one, just delete.
Well, that was too blown out for adjustment.
Technically, no, but yeah, maybe that one was a little bit too adjusted, too overexposed. I mean, I could play with this one, but honestly, to me, this is a little too far. Yeah, you're gonna get some weird banding going on in the highlights. it'll hold up better than a DSLR image, but you know, listen, guys, you still have to get the right exposure here. You're also better off underexposing than you are overexposing. An underexposed image with 3 stops, I can bring back. 2 stops overexposed, it's tricky. Exactly, like gentleman said, it's like slides, like transparency film. It's very much so, like E6. There's only so far you can go. Okay. Anyway, what I was really wanting to do here is take I'm going to take the warming that I did on this and bring them over to where we ended up. And I've warmed up all these images. So I've just gone through and made all these images similar and like. Cool. Any questions on this?
You're shooting it raw, right?
Yes, we are. We are shooting a .mos file right now, which is a Leaf proprietary file. Okay. All right. Guys, I'm going to break out of this session right now, unless anybody wants to see any shooting, any other shooting. Okay. Would you like to see any kind of processing real quick? Let's do that before I break out and show you some feature tools. Okay. All right.
I have a question.
Yes?
When did Mamiya and Leaf merge? Maybe you said that before.
When did Mamiya and Leaf merge? They technically merged when Phase 1 acquired, outright bought Leaf. And then Phase 1 is a majority partner of Mamiya for the last, I believe, 5 years. So technically they've been 2 brands that have been under the Phase 1 guidance. Mac Group has sold Mamiya. MAC stands for Mamiya America Corporation for the past 25 years here in this country. And we've had Leaf for the last, I believe, 15 years. So the merging of the names became public on January 15th of this year. Okay, so let's talk about processing. So this is a raw file. I want to process it. I come over to my processing tab, or what's called output, and what I'm going to do is you have this thing called process recipes. I'm just going to open and close it. And then you have process recipe. It's a little strange why they do this, but if you think about it, it does make sense. Let me make a new recipe and show you what I do from scratch. I hit the plus button. I'll call this TIFF, T-I-F-F. Okay. It's selected. I come down to the process recipe and I put all the parameters for this TIFF that I want to be processed. The format is TIFF. The compression, I'll leave it at none. ICC profile, it will be in Adobe RGB 1998. That's my output profile. You can pick others. We could get into that, but it would take just too long. I'll leave the resolution at 300 DPI. Scale will be fixed and 100%. My sharpening, I'm going to either disable it when it processes or leave it the way it is. For right now, I'm going to leave it the way it is. We can get into a whole thing about sharpening, but I'm not going to go there right now. You have the Advanced tab over here that has a subfolder and a subname. I'm not going to touch subname, but I'm going to touch subfolder. And I'm going to call this TIFFs processed. Okay. All right. And you actually can include the rating and the color tag. So that's something I like also. Okay. So TIFFs. I'm going to, let me just get rid of this just to, so there's no confusion. All right, so that's one process recipe I've made. I'm going to make another. Besides TIFFs, what else do you work with? What format? JPEGs. Perfect. That's the answer I was looking for. JPEGs. Did I say JFEGs? With an F? No. JPEGs. Okay, JPEGs. I love JPEGs. Love to eat them in the morning. Okay. So I'm on JPEGs now, not TIFFs. So I have to come down here to process recipe and change that. I'll pick JPEG. My quality I might bring at 85. I like to leave the Adobe 1998 RGB profile. On this one, just because it's me, and I'll show you for demonstration purposes, I'm going to make this 150, okay? And I'm going to make this 50% of the scale. Okay, I'll answer why I'm doing that in a minute. I'm going to leave the sharpening alone, and I'm not going to open these files with any program like Photoshop. You can do that. Once the file processes, if I pick this to bring it in Photoshop, it would open up. But when you're doing hundreds of files, that's a pain in the butt. But you could make a process recipe that would say open with Photoshop. You could title it anything you want. I could title it Bob's Your Uncle, you know. So in the Advanced tab, I'm going to put this as okay. I have a crazy reason why I do this. Okay, and I'll explain in just a second. So these are the two process recipes that I'm going to process this image as. Okay, is this a sharp image? Yeah, it's good. You look good, John. Okay, you're welcome. So I'm going to go back to my navigating tab here, my library tab. Okay, let's close that. Let's close that for just safety's sake. Remember I told you about the output folder that's made, okay? Right, there's nothing in it right now. Okay, I'll go back to my capture tab. I'll pick 3 of these images of Mr. John, and then I will actually go to process them. I will just come up to this gear here at the top right-hand corner in these tools and just say process. Each image gets a little yellow icon on it, okay? If I come into the process queue, you can see it processing. Now, since I have selected with these check marks JPEGs and TIFFs, each file is now being processed as a JPEG and as a TIFF. Furthermore, because, remember this, the session that I showed you guys? Because I made 2 subfolders, they are being dropped into, nicely, neatly, into 2 different folders. 2 different recipes, 2 different ways of making these, 2 different folders. I could do this for 50 folders, and it would drop in there. All it would be is the time to process this. 3 files processed very quickly. As a digital technician, working on catalog shoots, working on advertising shoots, all day long, we do shot 1. I have to take it, I have to process it, I have to organize it, I have to make sure the bad files are out, the good ones are there, the selected files are chosen, things like that. Things like this is when you need a workhorse tool, and that workhorse tool is Capture One, especially working with a large format digital back. Okay. Okay. Since I just mentioned tagging, I'll show you real quick how you can tag with these images. I'll also show you what the selects folder does. The selects folder has nothing in it right now. I'll go back to my capture folder, and right away, I like that image. Okay? Hold on a second. I hit Shift plus, and I put a green tag on the folder. If I hit the number 3 key, it would put 3 stars, up to a 5-star rating. No, I don't want to make it a 5-star rating. I'm going to make it a 2-star rating. All I have to do is press my key. So, quick command keys can also be altered and customized in Capture One to any key you want. If you wanted the D key to be your green tag, you can set it as that. Takes a little time. I can't really do it right now. You can also come over here and, oh, no, I really don't like this file. I'm going to make it a red. That means I'm going to throw it away. So I'll go through real quick, and I'll just show you. Sorry. I'll just show you how I tag them. I keep hitting the command instead of the shift. I like that one. It's green. No, I don't like that one. I'm going to make it red just by hitting the minus key. I like this one. I'm going to make it green. I'm going to like this one. I make it green. No, I don't like that one. I'm going to make it red. Okay. You come up to View, Sort. Excuse me. View, Sort by color tag. The greens are first. The reds are second. I can even go in, View, Edit, select by color tag. I'll select all the red ones. So they're now selected. So I could either delete these, drop them to another folder, put them in someplace else, and you could also do it by drag and drop. If I wanted to, I could bring all these by selecting the thumbnails and drop them into the selects folder. I'm not going to do that right now because I want to show you something different, but that's also possible. If I went and selected, I'm not going to select anything right now, the greens, all I would have to do is drag these over to the selects folder or hit the Command J and it'll give me a little warning. These files will be moved to a new location. They're actually in your selects folder right now. I don't know what that is. And that's what the selects folder does, is it just makes it as a folder that you can put choice images into. Let me show you a little trick here. It doesn't have to be just for selects. It could be your rejects. You can rename it. You can call it anything you want. Again, the beauty of Capture One, you can customize this to the way you work, the way you want to work, your shortcuts, your easier way of doing things. There's a lot of different ways to skin the cat with Capture One. And if we close that, it should. The only thing is you'd have to restart the program for it to view here. Yeah, it still says selects. So when I restart the program, it will come up and say rejects now. Okay, that's what I am, a reject. You could also copy and let's say I select these 3 red files. I held the Option down, and I could put these in the output folder.
Other question.
Yes.
You mentioned you have 3. You have Pro.
Say that. I'm sorry. Speak up.
You have 3 versions of the Capture One. You have Pro down to basic elements.
Yep.
What if you want to find my elements? Am I missing it? Would I not be able to do all of this, or part of this is missing on that software?
Let me repeat the question. The different versions of Capture One, this gentleman is asking, would he have these abilities to do the same types of features I'm doing with selecting and dragging and dropping and moving the files in both Capture One Pro and the Capture One DB? The answer is yes, it'll be the same. Certain other tools will not be available in Capture One Express, but you will definitely have this. Okay? The only thing you can't do in Capture One DB is to import the files via a CF card, because if you're going to use this with a DSLR camera, they want you to buy a license, and which is fair enough. No problem. No problem.
Any presets, black and whites, tungsten?
Oh, tons. Yes. Questions? Any presets, black and white, tungsten? Those presets are set for the camera. Okay. Let me see, where did I find them? In next capture. Oh. I'm going to have to find that. But we do have a black and white tool. Let me show you that. And it is quite amazing. This tool right here, and it's a relatively new tool. I'll bring it up here, right here. Let me show you something else really cool. This image of John, I like it, but I would like to have several different versions of it. by making a new variant, which is you can either make a new variant or you can clone the variant. If I made a new variant, watch what happens. And I'm going to select them both. The new variant comes up just as it was shot originally. Any adjustments that I made to John, I warmed him up, I might have brightened him up a little bit, are not going to come into the new variant. If I were to clone the variant by image clone variant, F3, also on the keypad, it comes up the same. Okay? So that's the first one here. And the second one. Let me just jump to a session that I've done a while ago. I'll actually just go to the folder. I'll navigate there. Actually, Mamiya demonstrations. And I'll just go to this capture folder that I brought up when I first started. There's two tools I want to show you. I want to show you the Moire tool using local adjustments. And then I want to show you the dust and spot removal tool, which I think is amazing. So bear with me for a second. I want to find a particular image. Yeah, there he is. My coworker. Maybe some of you know him, Cliff Hausner. This guy's a character. Okay. Now, Cliff's wearing a modern knit shirt. We all have them. It's a nice shirt. I'm not making fun of it. But we got Moire on this. This was shot with a 33 megapixel digital back. And we get Moire on things like denim, ballistic nylon, anything with a tight knit pattern. Grandma's house in the country's got the screen door and it opens up on a sunny day. And sometimes you'll see this wavy kind of weird little thing, almost like a polarizing effect. That is technically moire. Moire happens when two patterns meet, they differentiate, and what happens? The color floats. I know that's kind of weird to say. You don't see moire in black and white. You see moire in color, okay? And what's happening here, I'm going to blow up to 100%, is the color is confused on where it's supposed to go. The damn thing is so sharp, then his pattern of his shirt is mimicking the pattern of these 80 million pixels, these little squares that are 6 microns large or so. And through the optics of the lens, they're merging. And the color just doesn't know where to go. Does everybody know how color works on a single capture camera? I'll explain it real quick. There's a filter over every pixel. One filter. You can't put 3. You can't put red, green, and blue together. You can only use one. So each pixel has either a red, a green, or a blue filter on front of it. Okay? To put color into every pixel, there's a word called interpolation. And interpolation is a very fancy scientific term for borrowing. My neighbor is coming over to borrow a cup of sugar from me. In essence, I'm then lending her a cup of milk. And then we're taking the other neighbor and we're giving her an egg. Milk, sugar, egg, milk, sugar, egg, red, green, blue, red, green, blue. It transfers over in a nanosecond, and every pixel then ends up with red, green, and blue. Okay. Moire doesn't know what to do with these color transfers when it happens because the XY coordinates get just confused. So the color floats out. So why did I go into that whole long, boring explanation? It's because Capture One's got a kick butt tool for fixing it. Okay? And it's called the Moire tool, simply put. It's got a pattern and an amount. For this Moire, because I've done this a million times, and by the way, I'm looking at Moire at 100%, and that's the way you can tell if Moire is on the image or on the screen. And screens don't really have Moire per se too much anymore. It used to be on the old CRT screens, but these LCDs have gotten much better. I'm bringing the pattern up, I'm bringing the amount up. watch the moire go away for the most part. It's not going to go completely away, but it's going to go away quite a bit. I'm going to zoom out.
And what did it actually call on the slider?
Pattern and amount. Right here.
Francis, if
Yes.
without deleting the moire, for lack of better words, if you were to make a print, would you have seen the
Yes.
moire on it?
The question is, there's two questions, and I'll repeat them. The first question is, what are the tools called, or the sliders on the tools? On the moire tool, there's an amount and a pattern slider. One works with the amount of relief it's giving to the moire. The other is how much to affect the pattern. Repeat the second question, please.
No, the question was before you eliminated the moire.
Would you see it on a print?
Did you say it on a print?
His question is, would you see this moire on a print? The answer is absolutely. The answer,
Is there, this might be not in your category. Is there a tool to eliminate that in Photoshop?
there's a method to eliminate it in Photoshop, and it's usually desaturating that part of the image. But you're losing a bit of color. This tool makes a whole life a whole lot easier. And this tool, working on like a still life object that doesn't move within the image, because it would be very hard to do this on a person who moves within the image, you could apply the moire to this one image and then repeat it to the following image, provided the subject has not moved. Okay? Wait 1 second.
If he was sitting down, then you'd have to start all over again. Let's say if he moved out of his position.
You'd have to redo that, yes. If the subject moved, you would not be able to repeat it. So a subject on a still life, something set, something where the camera doesn't move, no problem. You could do that. Now, moire is great. It got rid of Cliff's moire on his shirt, about 98% of it. There's still a little. I use this sample of this because this is extreme moire, okay? I've seen it for, the last 20 years, and I've never seen it like this. This is like an extreme case. Okay, but here's the problem. Look what it did to the colors on these color patch cards. They're bleeding out now. So I don't want to do this to this image. I'm going to rebound it and take away everything I just did. So now it's a normal image again, but the moire is back. So working with moire, I'm actually going to go to my local color adjustments, and the moire tool is over here as well. That's something I'd like to point out. You can configure these tools to be in the same spot, the same tab. So I will take this and make a new layer of Cliff's image. Okay? I'll call that layer moire. I don't think I spelled it right, but who cares? Okay, so I'm going to work just on this layer right now. I'm going to actually take a brush and I'm going to paint in, actually, I'm going to turn the brush on. Just like in Photoshop, I can use my bracket keys to increase my brush size. I'm going to paint in around the moire on his shirt. That should be good. Okay. I'm going to turn the moire off. Or, I'm sorry, I'm turning the mask off. Getting out of that tool. I'm going to the moire tool, and I'm going to bring the pattern up and get rid of it. Now we've got a picture of Cliff. No color bleeding out of the colors. The moire is gone. it only res there when the image resed, and it's 98, 97% gone. There's a little bit in there. It's pretty extreme. I can't get rid of everything, but it's done a darn good job of getting rid of this. If this was a shirt company, my wife actually makes shirts and knitwear. So if I was shooting for her company and we were to make this a national ad, I could not give this image like this. We would have to fix it. And if you spent $50,000 on one day of shooting for a high-end shoot, and I've worked on shoots that cost $500,000 a day, they're expecting quality in the product. This is one of those tools where you can fix something like that. I've had clients actually at one point just like give up. They go, we deal with this moire all the time. It costs us hundreds of thousands of dollars to fix it later on down the road. You could save them hundreds of thousands of dollars. So you could be a hero.
But you would have to, like you said, you didn't get rid of it completely. You'd have to go back in and just.
The question is, you didn't get rid of it completely. Yes, you would have to go back in on Photoshop, and on this area right here, I might just go in and just desaturate this area. But look at the difference, my friend. I'll turn off the layer. What would you rather work on, this or a little bit right here? That a retoucher can definitely take care of with not a lot of effort. I don't want to speak for retouchers, but trust me, I've worked with them in the past, and if I gave them this image regarding as opposed to as it came in, they'd be loving me. So, okay, one more tool to work with. Any questions on the moire tool? Okay, it's one of my favorites. I know, I'm weird. Okay, I'm going to show you a picture of a really good-looking guy. Oh! I'll reset anything that's going there.
Movie star.
Yeah, you got it, man. You got it. Well, anybody want my autograph? This is a spot removal tool. Okay. One thing great about having a digital back is that, where's those sensors? I could just take the back off. I take a special tool and a special wipe and a special fluid, and I just clean the sensor. Blow it off a little bit. I'm done. I don't have to take a DSLR, take the lens off, open it up, make sure it's connected to a power supply, make sure that power supply is connected to an uninterruptible power supply, because if it ever died, while you have basically a Q-tip in there, and that mirror closes on it, and you've got a dead camera, or a $3,000 repair on a $2,000 camera. And I'm not kidding, I've done it. When I used to work at a dealer, it closed on me for some reason. I had a power supply, I had everything done the right way, and the darn thing closed, and I ruined a guy's camera, and we had to pay for it. So that always scares the heck out of me. Digital back, you take it off, you clean it, don't drop it, but you're going to get the dust off. Dust happens on every digital back, every digital DSLR. You're not going to be able to avoid it. But what you can do, if it happens, and it happened on this image, and it happened on this image, and it happened on this image, it's right here, only because the camera turned from vertical to horizontal, is that I can attack it and get rid of it here on the raw image itself. Okay, let me demonstrate. I'm going to go into 100%. I can't remember if I use a dust or a spot on this. Let's try spot. This is my tool. My brackets, like in Photoshop, adjusting a okay. So all right, pretty much gotten rid of it. I probably could have made it a little bit bigger. If I had any more, I could go in and get rid of those as well. And then, by going into my local color adjustments, making sure that I pick dust and spots. So did everybody see how I did that? Took this one image, I go into the copy adjustments, pick dust and spots, and I applied
Nice lighting down
Thank you. This one should have gone. Well, I got it on those two. So. Make sense? All right. Any other questions on Capture One?
Which was it?
A 2-seat license is $299. You can get it through MamiyaLeaf.com or phase1.com. And I believe B&H sells it as well in the box form. So, okay. Cool. Does anybody have Capture One that they need to upgrade it or anything like that? I believe the Capture upgrade is $99 for the 2-seat license. Right now it's on version 6.4. So, okay. Let's get to some fun. You guys are a lucky group. You are the first group in the United States that I can show this new back to. And it's pretty cool. This is our Aptus 2 line. We've had this for about 8 years now. The screen, everybody asks me, when am I going to get a better screen? When am I going to get a better screen? Now we're going to give you a better screen. The Credo line, C-R-E-D-O, stands for Trust and Belief in Latin. Okay, announcing the new Credo. C-R-E-D-O, it stands for Belief and Trust in Latin. We are really proud of this back, and we are incredibly excited to announce it and bring it out. This is the only one that I have in this country right now. I think I've said that a few times today. I apologize. I'm bragging. But I'm totally excited about it because I'm basically the only one in my company who has it right now, and 18 people are knocking my door down. This back has a 1.15 million pixel touchscreen on it, much like your iPad, your iPhone. It has soft buttons here that are virtual buttons that controls it by the home button, the back button. I took the card out, that's why. It has an internal battery as opposed to our Aptus line where the battery fits now into the back itself, powers it up, and it powers up right away and comes up right away when you put the battery in. Also, CF card that it shoots to, one single slot CF card. And this happens to be the Credo 80, which means it's an 80 pixel full 645 size sensor. Okay, and I'm going to format the card right now.
So how much does that back cost?
This back on the 40 megapixel starts at $19,495.
So how much is it? 80.
And 80 is $38,995. And that's the back alone.
I'm going to spoil it. Well, I had to ask.
Francis, my birthday's coming up. Would you do it for me?
I'm not going to repeat that question.
Question?
Okay, I'm going to format the card right now, all touch screen right there on the camera. I have there's no more stylus. No, it's all touch screen, much like your iPad, like your iPhone. Yeah. Okay. You can shoot to FireWire 800, or you can shoot to USB 3. USB 3 will be more readily available as we progress with our computers down the road. So, and supposedly USB 3 is much faster. Okay. There is virtually no buffer in this camera. I'm going to actually just fire away. Okay. Get a little beep. Turn these off.
Like that.
Okay, I'm going to put it to continuous.
Oh,
It's the camera's hiccuping a little bit. It's not the back itself.
How much is that with the body?
You would add about $4,500 extra for a body and a DF lens. We sell it as a special deal when you're selling a digital back. Okay?
And will that work on a 645 AF3?
It will work on the AF3. We've tested it. We have will not work on the AFD2 very well. We've encountered some bugs. Okay?
Repeat the name of the back again.
Credo. C-R-E-D-O. Some other features about this back is that if I wanted to put a automatic level in it, I've got the ability to do that right there. Pitch and roll. Can everybody see that?
Yeah.
Okay. I'll take it out. Histogram. Not much of a histogram on a black image. Let's demonstrate something in a unique way here. Lynn, say your name again?
Mel, just Mel.
Mel.
Yeah.
Okay, Mel. Let's set this camera up. Nope, we're not going to plug it in yet. Let's go to 1/60th of a second, and I'm going to go to F10. Okay. Harry, why don't you have a seat there for a second? Or just maybe, yeah, that's fine. Okay, simple portrait. Mel, just take a shot of him right now. Let's see it on the back itself. I'm not plugged in yet, and I'm doing this for a reason. Okay, let's see how it looks. Okay, let's show it to everybody. Just show the back then
How
to the crowd.
you see it?
Okay. All right. Now let me see it for a second. Here, you hold that.
Sure.
Okay, I can bring up his, step back here so I can show everybody. The histogram looks a little down. Okay. Let's shoot one more of him. I'm just going to do it. Actually, I'm going to increase your lights. And with the remote here, brought it up 4/10 of a stop, so a half stop. Shoot another one if you don't mind, Mel.
Okay.
Yeah, right there.
Okay, shoot one, stay there, let's see it. Much better. Okay, shoot 3 or 4 more.
It's a little hot.
Well, let's look at the histogram. Look at the histogram. That histogram looks pretty good to me, actually.
Okay. All right.
So shoot a few more of him. And then I'm going to plug in and show you how seamless it could go to shooting to a CF card, plug it in, it'll automatically recognize and shoot to the computer.
You can shoot both of the CF cards.
No, it will pick one or the other, and I have it in format to choose one or the other right now, or
So now
automatic choice.
This is tethering Wi-Fi?
Yeah,
Okay.
no, not Wi-Fi, through an 800 FireWire 800 cable.
But I didn't have the cable in.
No, you were shooting right then to a CF card.
Oh, right, okay. I got you.
Okay. Stay there. You're going to shoot more.
That is-
Okay, right now, the back says Leaf Credo 80. My friend, shoot away. So Mel's starting to shoot. I'm shooting in what's called a format called IIQS. Okay. All right, Mel, you know what? You are overexposed. Let me adjust you right here from the software. Let me make sure I'm not, oh, I know why. Remember that curve I made before? It was based on the last one. Watch what I'm going to do, folks. Because we put a different curve on John before this image, it applied it to this one as it came in. That's natural. That is what Capture One does. I'm actually going to reset that image. That's not so bad. It's still a bit overexposed. Ooh, there's a piece of dust on the sensor. Perfect. We'll get rid of it. All right, I love it. Okay, Mel, I'm going to adjust your lights. Hang on one second. Okay, go ahead and shoot, sir. Oh, wait. You know what? I made a mistake. Hold on. That is pretty good. Shoot a couple more if you don't mind. Okay, great. Let's see how the focus is. Sorry, Harry. Yeah, this is beautiful. The quality on this, guys, is so unsurpassed. It's so amazing. And if Mel wanted to, he could just simply unplug that cable. I don't have to come and disconnect or anything like that. He could just easily just pull it out, start shooting to a CF card. He's got a battery in there. The power consumption, they're less of a problem these days. This back is an answer to a prayer that we've been asking for. Yes, you have a question?
You could run across the room, unplug, run across the room, shoot something, come back, plug back in.
Yes, this gentleman is asking if you could just unplug, run across the room, shoot, come back, plug in, you're shooting to the computer. Yes. Yes.
What f-stop would be just?
What f-stop? Well, if you look down here, we're at ISO 50. Oh, that's why we overexposed.
Oh, okay, I see.
1/60th of a second f10 with a 110 millimeter lens. Sorry. Okay. Here, let's go in and take care of that spot. Spot tool. Bracket a little bit bigger. Okay. Mel, do me a favor and shoot again, please. Kind of from the same angle. Great. Would anybody else like to shoot with this? Would anybody else like to see the interface? You're more than welcome.
Good.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay. There. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you, Harry. Let's have a good hand for these guys. We are very excited about this. Guys, thank you very much for coming here today. I thank BNH for being here. I thank you guys for coming out on such a rainy day. You braved the weather. I'm really glad that you got to see the new Credo back. You'll be hearing great things about it down the road. My card's here. If you have any questions, take a brochure. Enjoy your time here at B&H, and thank you very much for coming here.
Thank you.
For more information, please visit us online, give us a call, or stop by our New York City Superstore. You can also connect with us on the web.